Okay, let's go.
Good evening, Big Blue Nation, and welcome into Apex News Above the Noise. Tonight, we are talking Kentucky basketball. The roster is taking shape. Expectations are rising. The SEC is loaded, and one question is already dominating conversations across the Commonwealth. Is this Kentucky team Final Four caliber? We're going to break down the Wildcats from top to bottom. We'll discuss roster construction, player development, projected rotations, starting lineup possibilities, and what realistic expectations should be for Mark Pope's latest squad. And joining us tonight is a special guest, somebody that has made his rounds across all of the podcasts, and that is going to be Greg Williams Sr., who is Cam's dad. Greg Williams Sr., the father of Kentucky forward Kam Williams, joins us to discuss Cam's basketball journey, his development as a player, his decision to remain in Lexington, and his outlook on both this roster and the upcoming season. Whether you're excited about Kam Williams, Malachi Moreno, Milan Momcilovic, the incoming talent, or Kentucky's championship aspirations, this is going to be a conversation you won't want to miss. So settle in, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to this channel, and let's talk Kentucky basketball. Our guest tonight, Greg Williams Sr., his video's gone away. Greg, you there? Well,
I'm texting him now.
All right. As you're doing that, I'll go ahead and start our intro. Our guest tonight, Greg Williams Sr., the father of Kentucky forward Kam Williams. Greg has been a constant presence throughout Cam's basketball journey. From his days at Lafayette Christian Academy in Louisiana to a standout freshman season at Tulane, and now to the bright lights of Kentucky basketball in Rupp Arena. Kam arrived in Lexington after earning AAC All-Freshman honors at Tulane, where he established himself as one of the nation's most promising young wings and one of the most efficient young shooters in college basketball. After transferring to Kentucky, he battled adversity, including a season-ending injury scare, before returning to help the Wildcats down the stretch. Throughout that journey, Greg has been one of Cam's biggest supporters, advocates, and mentors. He also has become a familiar voice among Kentucky fans, sharing insights into Cam's development, his work ethic, and the goals that continue to drive him as he pursues his dream of playing in the NBA. Tonight, we'll discuss Cam's path to Kentucky, his growth as a player, what fans may not know about him off the court, and Greg's thoughts on this Kentucky roster as the Wildcats prepare for another season with championship expectations. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming Greg Williams Sr. to Apex News Above the Noise. Hey, Greg, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can't see it.
We still got a black screen.
Yeah.
We've had good video.
Okay.
Yeah, we had good video for 30 minutes.
Let me try once again. Hold on.
Sure, okay. You're fine.
You don't got your finger over it, do you?
As anytime you're dealing with interviews and things like that, you have to make sure that you have all of the connections right. Cam's dad is driving outside
of Baton Rouge. He's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
We can still hear you.
Okay. My camera strength keeps going up, but
Well, as we discuss this, one of the big gets this week for you guys who are just joining us is the fact that Milan Momcilovic has decided to join the Kentucky roster this year. We've all been very excited about that, and a lot of questions have come up at how he fits into this roster. I know that we are anxiously waiting to see how Coach Pope juggles each of these individuals and the players in this roster, and hopefully if we get Greg on here real soon. He was excited to join us. We had talked about this. He was driving in from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where he was working today, and they're in the middle of course, a torrential downpour down in Louisiana as soon as we're about to go on the air. So we'll continue to work with that. Greg, are you there? Well, as he works that out, Craig, let's discuss some of the things that we have going on with the basketball team this year. Obviously, the big get this week that we've all been talking about is Milan Momcilovic and him joining the team and what that means to this program. I think a lot of folks We'll talk about the fact that he is a 48.7% 3-point shooter, which led the NCAA this year. But he was also a 17-point shooter from the field. And he's an 88% free throw shooter. Started all 37 games for Iowa State. Hurt us bad in the playoffs.
Got 20 on us
in the NCAA tournament. And so that's something that will be a big get for us, somebody who is a deep threat throughout the next year.
Can you hear us, Greg?
I can hear you. Absolutely.
You're coming in crystal clear on audio. It's just
audio's great. We might have to just go with audio at this point and see if the video corrects itself.
It must be a heck of a rainstorm down there.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Greg, if you can hear us, tell us a little bit about Kam's journey from Lafayette, Louisiana, to Tulane, to Kentucky, and what that meant for you and your family.
Well, I know coming out of high school, he had a lot of opportunities. We were happy with whatever choice he made, but we were definitely excited when he chose Tulane because that was basically an extension of high school, meaning we could still go to a number of games. We could see him on a regular basis. We could talk to him on a regular basis. So we were very excited about that. I know a lot of people questioned his choice, but when he spoke to me, he said, "Dad, I really want to play." And when you go to some bigger schools, a lot of times freshmen aren't given those monster minutes. And Tulane promised him if he was productive, he would have an opportunity to play a lot. We didn't know it would be 32 minutes, but but I was worried about New Orleans, the nightlife, just in case he wanted to do some experimenting. But he was very focused on basketball and his academics. So we really didn't have that problem. And once he had a pretty good year, the phone rang even more. And when Kentucky called, that was, Kentucky is the dream school of a lot of players. The options now kind of, from all of the Kentucky lore, all of the great BBN fan base, everybody wants to experience that. But now you throw money in the mix. And so that affects a lot of kids, but that wasn't something that Kam was really going to allow. He wasn't going to allow that to stop him from playing for his dream school. Yeah. Yes, it's very bad.
Yeah, Craig.
I'm putting the weather map up. You're right underneath a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and so when they called, he just jumped on it, and he did entertain other schools, but it was hard for him to get Kentucky off of his mind. And he called Mark Pope a few days later and said, "Look, I'm in it." It was before they played the game against Tennessee that Friday, and he committed.
When you look at what Kam did in high school, he was obviously, he played for the Houston Hoop on the Nike EYBL recruiting circuit. He averaged well over 20 points a game. His junior year, he averaged 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Then he goes to Tulane, and at Tulane, he plays in 33 games. He starts 28 games, 32 and a half minutes per game. And, he averages just shy of 10 points, but he also shot 42% from the three-point line. Did you have, at that point, as a dad, and I have college-age kids who are Division I athletes as well, but as a dad, did you think that he would progress as fast as he did, and did you think he would come to the mecca of college basketball, that being University of Kentucky?
Well, from day one, I've always been confident in his abilities. I knew that he could play for any program. The question was how long they would need him or want him to play. At 6'8", at the time, I think he was 190. I knew that it was going to probably be a challenge if they wanted him to go under the goal. But he was long enough and big enough to play anybody on the perimeter. It's just when he got down low that was an advantage for a lot of them being defenders. But he was always confident in what he could do. And he knew that if he came to Kentucky, that he'd be prepared for anything. Again, how much of an opportunity would he get? He didn't know, but he was confident that he can come in and gain minutes and help the team in any way they needed, whether it's on the perimeter or on the interior. He was going to do his best to help UK win games.
Talk about what it means for your family, with Cam being so far away, being several states away, being in an environment with a program like the University of Kentucky, but also with a coaching staff like Mark Pope and his coaching staff. What that means for a parent, just knowing that your kid's okay.
Well, when we first were contacted, of course, it was Alvin Brooks. Alvin Brooks recruited my oldest son, Greg, when he was at Baylor. And so I was familiar with him. Jason Hart, of course, played basketball, I think Syracuse, so I was familiar with him. Mikael McLean, he was at Houston. I was familiar with him. The other staff members, I wasn't as familiar, but it doesn't take long for you to get comfortable with
Right.
coaches. When you look at their experience, I think they understood that Cam didn't need a father, but he needed father figures. He needed people he could look up to and respect and be taught. And so we were able to get all of that. You know, Coach Pope, they talk about his recruiting. They talk about him as a person. Look, Coach Pope is a great person. He's a great coach. And when you have the atmosphere that Kentucky offered, you don't really worry about them while they're on campus. You just would worry about him and when he got off campus, the things that might happen with people who don't care about him. But I knew that when he came to Kentucky, everyone cared about him on the staff. He had great teammates, and it was a great fan base. So I wasn't really worried about him because whenever he knew he wanted to talk, trust me, his phone works. And so he'll call me and we'll have long conversations, whether it's about basketball or academics, relationships, anything like that. Um, and it's not, Kentucky is the Mecca. I mean, it's not pressure in a sense that you think that you can't do well, but there's a level of expectation that no one else has to deal with, like Kentucky. And so you want to make everybody proud. You work hard to do it. And it's really not a matter of failing per se. It's a matter of not living up to fan expectations because you really want them to be happy. They have been happy, they deserve to be happy, and you want to be a part of that sustained happiness and greatness. Now, not just with the fans, but former players. If you're doing well, they're going to come to the games. And
Right.
so you really want that to have that stamp of approval, if you will, from everyone. And so it's going into last year, at this point, didn't know anybody. So this year, everybody. Well, in a sense, the staff members that are there, you know them. You know the fan base. You know the level of expectation. You know Lexington. It's not like you don't know where to go. And so there's a level of familiarity. And when I'm looking at him today, there's a level of confidence because he knows what to expect. And so he's going in it with a different mindset. He's not getting ready because he doesn't know what's going on. He's getting ready based upon what he knows is going to go on and what's expected. So it's a
Well,
different mindset approaching.
the number one question, and I think you addressed this the other day on the Loyal BBN fan show when you and Braden's dad were talking. How's Cam's health?
He is in great shape. His foot is doing exceptionally well. Um, what he told me was his foot feels great. He doesn't know if it's ever going to be where it was before, meaning you'll play and there's nothing you have to do with it, no massaging, no ice or anything. But it's to the point where it doesn't make him question, can he play?
Yeah,
He'll play, he'll just ice it just out of habit, or he'll
right.
just, get it massaged just because he wants it to respond well to playing. But it's never stopped him from playing. It's never made him question whether he should or should not play. He's in full preparation mode and he's ready to get back and start that long grind till April.
Thank you guys for joining us tonight. That those of you who have joined us here at Apex Media, we are here with Greg Williams Sr. He is on his way home and or on his way to work, and he actually stopped off to have a conversation with us as well. And he's in the middle of a torrential downpour down there in Louisiana, so he's been kind enough to join us at least by voice. And if the camera comes back in, great. If not, this will be just as great. So thank you guys for joining us as we talk about this. Greg, one of the things I think a lot of people uh, forget about these kids is that they're kids, and they are young men that are learning how to be adults, while also uh, going to school and trying to learn new things and be away from home for the very first time. You told us as we were going on the air that you had lunch with your boys and you were able to see them today. Tell us what it's like to see a kid that's been a part of a program like this and to interact with them and just spend some time with them, what it means to you as a parent.
Well, let me say this. Our conversations when they were younger was the very simple, basic level of basketball.
Right.
But now where I dominated the conversation. Well, now I'm just kind of watching them talk because they're using terms that I'm not familiar with. So they'll say something. I'm like, well, what's that? Oh, that's when they do this. Oh, okay, okay. So the conversation goes from simple to very complex. And actually, I'm very proud of them because at this point of their career, they're breaking down everything. Like a lot of people think, for example, when Milan, okay, his goal should be simple, come play at Kentucky. Well, no, you want to know what kind of system they're running. You want to know how the coach is going to use you. You want to know what position you're going to be used because all of that determines your level of success in many ways. So when I'm sitting down talking to them, they're talking about teammates. They're talking about potential lineups. They're talking about different ways that everybody can be used, how they're interchangeable, and things like that. So it was a very interesting conversation, and it's one where I watched them as little boys who didn't know anything about basketball,
Right.
and now I'm not saying they're experts, but man, the things that come out of their mouth is like, wow, y'all really pay attention.
Well, when they were growing up, were you a coach to the boys when they initially started playing basketball? Did they outgrow you, I guess, with their ability to get better?
Well, because I was a temporary coach, yes, I was. I coached them from the time they started up until the beginning of junior high, sixth, seventh grade, because I wanted to coach them because I wanted them to get the fundamentals. I mean, I'm not
Mhm.
going to say winning wasn't important, but I think that you have to have a good foundation for basketball, a good fundamental foundation. And then after that, you're just trying to see how God was going to bless them athletically. And I know that when you have a fundamental person and a very athletic person, when you put those together, they're a problem to deal with. And so they outgrew me
Yeah.
because I knew I can only have them so far because I'm not a high school coach.
Right.
So I know I had to trust someone that was going to take them, that was going to still make basketball important, not just them. And so when people look at Cam, they look at a number like 6 points or 9 points and think that he's not productive. But what they don't
Not at all.
understand is he is a all-around person. He's going to defend. He's going to give you offense if you need it. But he's the one where you have zero problems as a coach. And I wanted them to be an asset with or without the ball, which that's very hard to do. But they have made it look easy.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was going to ask this a question about what it means to be an all around player, a well rounded player from Cam's perspective. But I also want to ask you, Cam suffered what we thought was going to be a season ending injury, but he worked hard. I think if nothing else, it endeared him to this fan base was the fact that Cam worked so hard when he was injured to get back in playing form, to get back out on the court. A lot of people describe even in our in our chat here tonight as, Cam's a dog, and I think that's the thing that's kind of impressive about this. But when he was going through that, tell me what he was saying to you and what the prognosis originally was, and how do you get through that as a parent, knowing that your son's trying really hard and having a difficult season?
Well, the what the doctor messed up and said was he could be back at a particular time.
Right.
So,
Remember? Yeah.
so yes, once he did that, then I knew
Yeah,
he was going to be back. He was going
yeah,
to do whatever he could. So the doctor told him, he said, okay, initially, you don't have to have surgery. You could wait, your bones will heal, but it'll take 2 to 4 months. Or you could have the surgery and it could be 6 to 8 weeks. And so Kentucky was in a unique situation where it wasn't a question whether they made the NCAA tournament.
right,
It's just a matter of seeding. And
right,
because of that, there was no pressure to play against Florida the last game of the season. There really wasn't a lot of pressure to play in the SEC tournament because at the very least he knew he had one game in the NCAA tournament and he could have just waited that long. But because he did everything the doctor told him to do, when they told him to do it, he was able to come back and play in the SEC tournament every game and every game of the NCAA tournament. So, um, and what I meant as being an all-around player, which his role in the tournament was different from what was being expected of him when he went down against Texas.
sure,
They wanted him to be a consistent scorer, defender, and things of that nature. But he realized in the tournament he wasn't the same. So he was going to at least give you defense.
Yeah.
If he could also, if you needed some offense, he'll give that to you. And that's the one thing about him and his brother. Being a problem off the ball is what every player should want to be. Because a lot of players have to pat, shoot,
right,
pat, layup. Well, he's going to run around, come off a screen. He's going to run back door for an alley oop. He's ready for anything on the offensive side, but he's also ready to make steals, get blocks, and just contest at 6'8" on the other end. So he's going to remain relevant the whole time, and that's what I mean by being an all-around
Right.
player. You won't miss him because he doesn't have the ball. And that's what I like about the team next year. Not trying to jump. I'm just
it's fine.
saying.
Hey,
It's hard
we're
not
hey,
to jump.
yeah, we're jumping. We'll
Yeah.
jump for you.
Yeah. We do have a question from, the folks watching here. Has Cam bulked up in the offseason, has been lifting and things of that nature? And how's you already said that he's doing great physically, but, have you noticed a difference in his, body type and his agility as well?
Yes, I have. He has, to answer both questions, yes. He's bulked up and he's been lifting. But the issue is he's bulked up on pizza and gumbo and things like that. He's been lifting the gumbo spoon and the plate, the fork for the pasta. And so, um, yes, he has bulked up. But no, on the serious side, he has remained very consistent with his weight program. So he
Good.
still lifts. He actually went on vacation, and so the diet was different.
That's allowed.
So
Yeah.
instead of 210, I think he's 208. So different
That's
kind of
still
food.
that's still 20
Yes,
pounds from when he got there.
Yeah.
yes, yes. And
Now
so, mhm,
going back to the SEC tournament, when you're off
yes.
that long and you're an elite athlete and you're playing against other elite athletes, it takes you a while to get your legs back.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
and, and you shoot with your legs. Everybody knows that.
well, this is the most, well, the biggest hurdle that you have to overcome is in your mind. Because when you're injured, you don't really know how you were injured. You just know
Right.
you were injured. And
Right.
so in your mind, you have to overcome the fact that injury is possible, right? It doesn't mean it's probable. So if you're worried about injury, you shouldn't play. You should just play, and more than likely, you're not going to be injured, you know? And so him
So
coming back,
he's not
yeah,
worried up here
no.
of fear of taking a jump shot or going under the basket with 5 other guys to get a rebound and coming down and hurting his leg again. That's out of his mind now, right? He's back to normal.
No, he never thought about that. And when you think about the game against Florida, when he was going for a ball going out of bounds, that big center hip checked him out of bounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's
Oh
one of
yeah.
those plays where how do you not call a penalty on that one? But he could have hurt himself hitting the chairs, from that hip check. Nothing about his foot. And so he realized then that um, injuries can happen at any time in any way. So you really just have to be prepared. And he came back with a vengeance. Part of the reason he had to go to Tulane because a lot of those schools didn't think he was physical enough. I don't know why, but the phones were ringing off the hook after Tulane because they saw
Yeah.
that he loved mixing it up. He's not afraid of anybody, and he's not backing down from anybody.
I,
And you
is that
know,
the biggest misconception about Cam, that he's not willing to be tough underneath, or at least scrap with some guys?
well, that was the first one. That was coming out of high school that he wasn't physical enough. But if you listen to a lot of people that talk about basketball, they say that he's not built to be a number one option. And what those guys don't understand is pretty much every guy on every D1 team, at least the top 8, 9, were all number one options in school.
Sure.
But the hierarchy in college changes. So the person who was number one and continued at a high level becomes a number one in college. But then the other one who was very successful is right behind him. Like last year, Owe was not a number one option at O State, at Oklahoma. But when he came here, he went from 6 points to 16 points.
And,
Right.
and, and he
You
showed
know,
Oklahoma that he should have been the number one twice.
every time,
Yeah.
every time. And so that's what people don't understand. If you say he doesn't have it to be one, that's not accurate.
Yeah. Well,
He
one of
does
my,
now.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say when you look at this team, so now you have Momcilovic. Now he's coming. He may not have been one over there, but he was one of their higher options. Malachi was not the number one option here,
Right.
but he is evolving into one of those that could be. Cam. You also have people who were options. Number one, Zoom, Wilkinson. I mean, you got a lot of kids who were on the cusp, or because of the team they were on, they couldn't be one, but you can go somewhere else and develop. So it's no telling what this team does, but based upon how these players approach it, is going to make the difference between Final Four or first four in.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite things to talk about, and you and I have texted back and forth about it, kind of is the free throw shooting of Cam and the team. The
Yes.
projected starters that I've got with Malachi, Cam, Zoom, Wilkins, and Momcilovic, all of them are well over 80% free throw shooters. Cam's 95%. Are they?
Yes.
Is it a thing for Coach Pope? Because I'm sure you go to practices to work on free throws, because with this kind of stuff, they can't foul anybody. And I bet we'll have a lot of 4-point plays when these guys bomb away from 3-point line. They understand and they know that it'll add 3, 4, or 5 points of their team average, right? I mean, their season average.
Well, yeah. I mean, but free throws is really a mental thing. It's kind of what I try to explain to the fan base. If you keep telling a team that they're terrible, then in their mind they're gonna think they're terrible, right?
Yep.
But if you keep telling someone, "Hey, you're good, you got it, you're gonna be okay," um, when you do that, then you're gonna feel comfortable. So what I always tell Cam to do is, you want to shoot as many free throws as you can. Practice is over, shoot. What many teams do is when practice is over, everybody's on the baseline and everybody comes to the free throw. And if you miss, down and back. If you
Yeah.
make it, you don't have to run. And I did different things with Cam and Greg when they were young to strengthen their mind about free throws. One in particular, with the oldest, I said, "Look, Greg, practice is over." I said, "Everybody get on the baseline. Choose somebody that you want to shoot 2 free throws. If they miss one of the two, 16 laps.
Woo!
Ooh, I
16
would,
laps. Parents were there.
The whole team.
16 laps, whole team. I say,
Oh
so
my!
choose wisely. So they chose Greg. Greg came up, made one, missed it. So I say, well, everybody hit the baseline. And I say, okay, hold on. Double or nothing. Choose another person. If they hit two, you don't have to run. If they miss one of them, 32 laps. And so they chose Greg again.
Yeah,
And I pulled Greg to the side and say, look, man, they trusted you and they're trusting you again. They believe in you. Don't let them be the only one to believe. So he went up there, knocked down 2 free throws, and the parents attacked me after the game like, that's too much pressure and this and that. I said, that's not pressure. I said, mortgages,
yeah,
car insurance, car notes,
right,
that's pressure. Free throws? Come on. I
yeah.
would love to do that and let Cam pay the mortgage and the car note.
oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah. For those of you who are just joining us, thank you for joining us here tonight at Apex News Above the Noise. Myself and Craig Blant, we are joined by Greg Williams Sr., the father of Kam Williams. He's in the middle of a rainstorm down there in Louisiana, but he's gracious enough to at least have called in so we can talk to him. Uh, Greg, one of the questions that has come up in the chat is, what part of Cam's game is he working on most this offseason?
Um, what I've always told him is that after every season, number one, be honest with yourself about what you did last season. How did you play? And if there was one thing that you needed to work on, what would that be? And he would share with me what he thought. And then I would just tell him, you really should work on every aspect of your game, right?
Right.
So work on your ball handling, work on your shot. I mean, if people say you shoot well, I mean, you can shoot better. If you shot 42, you can shoot, you can be 43. Um, but I always try to encourage him to work on everything because you never know what a coach may want you to do. Last year, they wanted him to play down low. If he had
Right.
known that, he probably would have bulked up even more through the season.
Right.
This year, he's going to be primarily on the wing because we have people to play the 4 and the 5.
Isn't that
So he's
nice?
going to be a 2 and oh, that's a beautiful thing.
Heck
I was
yeah, it is.
dancing.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, let me ask you this question, because there's been a lot made about Milan Momcilovic joining the team and some of the other transfers that have come in, but we said this a month ago that the cornerstone of this team is when Cam said, "I'm coming back," and then just a couple of weeks ago, last week with Malachi, uh, hometown kid, but also such a big part of this team. What did that mean to Cam to have one of his partners back on the team? Tell us how that conversation went and what it means for Cam to have somebody that's been in the system, that knows the system, knows Coach Pope. How excited was he when that happened?
No, he was very excited. One thing I can say that basically we don't watch X to see who's coming.
Right.
We don't because we know the selection process for people is very difficult. So when somebody does commit, because it's two different things, player to player and parent to parent.
Yep.
So I don't. It's not that I don't want to get too close, but it's real hard when you make good friends and they leave.
Yeah.
So once Braden connected with his dad, I was real excited. When Malachi committed, I met his parents, I met his brother. So that's a familiarity that I have with Reese Potter, things like that. I knew Mo Williams from the circuit before. So from a parent perspective, it was great because there's familiarity. From a player perspective, you can't beat it because it's not just people coming back, but it's people who were starters. And so there's a familiarity with what Mark Pope wants from you as a player, but then there's also a connection as people. I know what Malachi's like. We have a bunch of different faces now, but there's a familiar one. And so they're the de facto leaders. Cam is a junior,
Right.
right? And so he's coming back as a former starter. And so he can take these new guys in and say, hey, this is what Coach Pope expects. right? This is what he wants you to do. This is what we're going to be facing, you know? And
Well,
so when you're doing these things, it makes it a whole lot easier. And his leadership skills are going to be tested because, hey, you got to take these guys under your wing
Yeah.
and let them know the Kentucky way, if you
well,
will.
our friend, Big Mike, he just messaged in a second ago. I guess he's over in Saudi Arabia watching. So what's
Yes,
up, Mike? And you mentioned Reese Potter. Fans
yes,
don't know a lot about Reese Potter other than he's 7'1", and
yes,
we hear he's a great shooter from the outside. Can you tell us what you know about Reese Potter?
yes. I've watched him in practice many times, and he can definitely shoot. You know, he's a big body. Um, he can shoot, he can defend, he can do all of those things. And I think everybody develops in their own way. Just because he didn't play, like he was injured, and so once he recovered, the season was in full swing, and so he just continued on and didn't waste any time in terms of giving up a red shirt. So you might as well just relax and keep getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and these players, they want to play. So
Absolutely.
Reese has been banging. He has been sacrificing every day in practice. So he's ready to come out there and contribute. And I think we're pretty deep in a sense that we have a lot of people, like truly, we don't have anyone injured at this time, knock on wood, that we have
Right.
to sit here and say,
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
I'm beating on this wood, right? So it's not a matter of will this person be ready? No, everybody is good to go right now. And so this is probably the hardest thing for Coach Pope. It was easy when you had people injured. Well, I would have played him, but he was injured. Well, now everybody's coming back, they're available. What do you want to push forward? How do you want to proceed? The different matchups.
You mentioned, and we've talked a little bit about Reese, and we've talked about Malachi coming back. Another name that a lot of people have heard, but they've heard what kind of great player he is Braden Hawthorne, and I think people have no idea uh, how good Braden Hawthorne has been and can be. What have you seen, and what has Cam told you? What can we expect from Braden Hawthorne this year as well?
Well, let me first say this. Braden Hawthorne is super long. He is longer than the line at Walmart at 10:30 at night when you just want milk.
Yeah.
The way it always works.
Yes, he is he is super long. He's super skilled. So, and he's bulked up. I mean, he's almost at 200.
Yeah,
He's going up.
that's
So,
that's good. That's good. They got
yeah.
him eating the milkshakes up there in Lex.
Yeah, he is eating everything that's not nailed down.
I like that. I like to hear that.
And he can shoot. He can
Yep.
defend.
Yep.
He's going to be a problem.
I know that you said that you don't necessarily watch who's coming and all these things, but it's hard to miss the chatter over the last couple of weeks, last month, really, about the addition of Milan Momcilovic to the team. Uh, have you talked to Cam? Have you asked him? What are your thoughts? Are you excited about the fact that you're not going to have to be the only knockdown shooter on the wing? It takes a little bit of pressure off of him, to be honest with you. But has he shown some excitement about being able? He actually obviously played against him, so he knows that. But tell us what he's thinking now that Milan's joined the team.
Well, just to give you an example, when they talked about Stokes possibly coming, what if we had been getting together and said, "Oh man, we'll be able to do this if he comes. We'll be able to do that," and then all of a sudden he doesn't come. That's a lot of wasted chatter.
Yeah,
So what we do is because we don't even know if they're really interested. We
right,
really don't know. You hear people saying, "Oh, Kentucky's looking at this person and that person." I don't even know if that's true. You know what I mean? So
right,
we don't even really pay attention to it. But when somebody commits, okay, now it's time to look at film.
right.
What position do they play? What do they like to do? And that's how you want to get to know your teammate. Because again, people got to understand this is a competition.
Absolutely,
You're trying to get minutes.
that's right.
And so if you have Cam as a wing and Braden as a wing, and they get another wing, then okay, now you got to fight for minutes.
That's right.
But if you and Braden are wings and they get everybody else, that makes you feel great because they believe what they have at the wing position because they know what they have and they're satisfied with that. And so when you look at this team, when people commit, that's when you can really kind of sit up here and say, this is what we can do. Like you go by, like you say, a bird in the hand beats two in the bush.
Yep.
This is what we have. I can see birds flying over there, but when Momcilovic came, now all of a sudden you have, okay, what if? What if we put Cam and him on a wing, Zoom at the top,
Right.
Malachi at the elbow, and someone else at the short corner? Now when people drive, if you help, we want to punish you.
That's right.
Oh, no doubt. Well, let's change a little bit to how I wanted to ask you, and you and I have talked about it, Kyle and I have talked about it at length, with how important is it for the fans to support the team through the year versus what we saw at the beginning of, or after the NCAAs and all the negative stuff the fans were saying. How important is it for do the players, do they see the fan comments? And
Yeah.
did it hurt us early on and potentially on some recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, just think about this. If I'm a player, I am Hampton, right? I'm listening to the people talk.
Yep.
And everybody and their mother says fire Pope.
Right.
I always tell people, think about it. Who is Hampton talking to? He's only talking to Coach Pope.
Right.
He's not talking to who you would want to replace Pope with.
Right.
He's talking to Coach Pope. So if you get rid of the guy that recruited me, why should I go? If they're talking about getting rid of him and I need at least 1 year, maybe two, and I like this guy, but everybody wants to fire him, why would I go to school there?
Well, and these kids live on social media. I mean, these are
Yes.
kids. They have Twitter. They have
Yeah.
they're seeing everything they're watching the YouTube stuff and everything. So you have a tough game. Let's throw the Gonzaga game out there. You have a tough game.
Yes.
The fans are booing and people are,
Going
pitchfork.
crazy. They were being ridiculous.
How does that affect you as a father watching that as well? Because I've seen my daughter, running a track meet and maybe she didn't have the best meet and you're hurt if people are getting on her. Tell me what it means to a father to see that as well.
Well, I mean, I'm shocked because this is supposed to be BBN, the best fan
Right.
base in the world. And Gonzaga fans are already giving us the business.
Yep.
Right.
And our fans booing?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So
I don't think
it's disheartening.
Yeah, I don't remember ever. I know no game I attended, but I don't think I remember ever hearing fans boo in Rupp Arena. Maybe they did, and I just put it out of my mind. But when they booed that game, I went crazy. My wife told me to calm down because I was screaming. How in the hell can they possibly boo these guys? It's ridiculous. And it carried on all winter long. And after the SEC and NCAAs, and I'm just glad we've moved on. We've got a great team coming up. And did Cam ever say anything to you directly about that?
Well, no, because the players don't have the luxury of sitting back and being miserable.
That's right.
They get beat by 30, 34, maybe, whatever it was. Guess what? They got to prepare for the next person. They don't have the luxury of being able to sit back and go on social media on every platform you're a member of and talk bad about the team. They got to get ready for the next game. And I always ask people, we got beat by 30 by Gonzaga. Gonzaga got beat by 40 by Michigan.
The next game. Game. Wasn't it the next game?
It was the next weekend, yeah.
It was the next weekend. And so, but their fans are still cheering because you have a night like that where you just can't hit the side of a barn.
Yeah, it happens.
And the only thing I can do, and we do, parent and son, is we talk about what could have been. Because when you look at Jaden Quaintance, look at what he's doing in his pre-draft stuff.
Oh, it's amazing.
And if he was able to do that,
yeah.
Jalen Lowe, when he was healthy, and then you had Cam. If they never missed a game, you think we're gonna lose 14 games?
No, we'd have had 29 wins probably at least.
Yes, easy. And
Greg,
so when you talk about the booing,
yeah,
I mean, he was disappointed. I mean, and look, there's a section of the fans who their first response instead of accountability is, well, there are people like me at every team. There are people like me in the pros. If you can't handle it, then you're not built for basketball. And look, I know none of them ever played D1 ball. I know none of them met Kentucky standards as a player.
right.
And so I'm just hearing somebody that wants to complain. But guess what? I'm fine. If you're a fan, I'm going to take you as you are. But Cam doesn't have time to worry about the doubting Thomases and the, what do you call those, the nagging Nancy's or whatever.
Yeah,
He has to keep playing ball and trying to get
negative
better.
Nancy's.
Yeah.
Negative Nancy. So look, Cam shot some air balls. Somebody said, yeah, Cam shot air balls. I said, you're right. And I told him, you should never shoot an air ball. And he was like, Daddy, I know, man. And we laughing like, man, did they move the goal? He said, no, look. And so he doesn't want to. It's not like he tried to. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
the guys making $20 million a year in the NBA throw up an air ball every now and then too.
That's right. Yeah, I've seen LeBron throw one up there. Hey, I'll ask you this question as well.
Uh-huh.
What are your feelings on potentially getting Crawford on the coaching staff at Kentucky?
Well, I did show him most of the moves that he uses, so it'll be a chance for him to thank me. No, I mean, no, it'll be great. That's another NBA guy
Yeah.
who could
All-star
potentially
and
work with your
champion.
son.
Yeah,
Like, I'm excited
Yeah.
that he could show him how to be a prepare to be a pro and how to be a pro, and show these guys their work ethic may not be pro potential. You need to step it up. They've been there. And so it's a great recruiting tool if my kid was on the fence to have three guys that were pros,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
People keep forgetting that Mark Pope was a pro.
Yeah.
Now I don't care if you look at his numbers. See, people don't understand. There are people in the pros that might average 2 points a game that are making 10 million a year.
yep. Well, Mark Eaton averaged more rebounds than he did points, and he played 15 years in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
And he retired.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to have a specialist every once in a while. I mean, Dennis Rodman was not a scorer.
No.
Dennis Rodman was defensive
No.
and a rebounder. So
And so he's a guy, Joe Crawford, who can come in and help. You got two guards who were elite.
yeah. People
They,
people have kind of looked that over, and they said, oh well, they don't only shoot 33% from three. They're not, these aren't great scores. These are elite guards that we have. They're 32, 33 points between them coming to this lineup, but also 11 assists. When you add that in there, I mean, there comes a point where you have to quit naysaying on who we have coming in here with the 2-point guard, and then you line that up with the other returning guys you have. But I want to talk to you real quick about something, because you talked about how Cam likes to mix it up a little bit. He's going to have some big bodies to mix it up with this year too in practice.
Yes.
You got Justin McBride coming in, who, by the way, I've shown Craig these highlights. I need to upload this week and show them on here. That dude can move.
Yes, he can.
Yes.
8'6'9". He is not a stand and in cement kind of guy. He moves with the ball, and he is a wide body. And then you got Frank Kepnong on there as well. That Frank the Tank that everybody talks about. Just
Yeah.
stud. And then we have unknowns like Njai coming in. Do you see the experience of Malachi and Cam understanding this system being a benefit for those guys who are coming from similar systems?
Yes. One of the things that hurt us last year is when you had to play out of position. When you have Cam, who was a point guard in high school,
Right.
who was a wing at Tulane, and now he's at the 4 at Kentucky, there's a level of uncomfortability that he had to deal with
Absolutely.
at 200, under 200. Then he kept bulking up. You had to go up against the McBrides. That was unfair on one end,
Was.
but then he was a distraction on the other. He was just placed in the corner, and he couldn't really affect the game because he was a decoy. So now this year, you have guys who are playing the position that they were recruited for.
Yeah.
And if someone gets hurt, you don't have to move somebody in that spot. It's just a move up,
Right.
and then not a
Somebody
move
else
over.
steps in. Yeah. Well,
Correct.
one thing that I think Kyle and I've showed these videos a lot is the speed of our big guys.
Yes.
Cam and Frank and
Justin.
Njai, those guys, and Justin McBride, they are so fast. I don't think people realize it. And I've told Kyle that I think the guards and the guards will get probably eight or nine assists apiece, maybe, but the team will surely get over 20 assists every game. What do you think about that?
No, I think they can be 20 or more because when you look at the team that he's assembled, right, you have guys who can rebound, get it in transition. The dream of any point guard is to have Cam on one side and Milan on the other.
Oh, no doubt.
That transition three is monster. The point guard can stop and pop. The two people on the wing can hit. But then guess what? You got trailing bigs who can also hit threes. So that fast break
And they
never
might not be
stops.
trailing. They might be able to keep up with the guards.
Well, no, exactly. So if they get the rebound, kick it, Cam and Milan are already hitting the corners. The bigs are coming up the middle or one on the wing. It's your offense starts already. Like you better find those 2 6'8" snipers. Oh, I gotta also worry about the 6'8", 240-pound four that can
Yeah.
shoot a three. A
Right.
6'11" three. I'm sorry, 6'11" four that can shoot.
Well, and that's the other thing is this. We're talking about all the points they may score, but this is going to be a much improved defensive team from last year as well. Not only because we have better defenders, we are going to be so long and tall at these positions. You're not going to get easy shots underneath.
Oh no, look, and I just try to remind people when you say, well, we don't have that star. Well, I just try to get them to pull up Florida's roster when they won the national championship.
That's right.
They were all
Well-
mid-major guys.
Well, and think of this, and this is another thing being a lifetime UK fan.
Mhm.
If you take the averages of the whole team just from last year, we're bringing in about 114 points a game. So that means these guys can shoot. They're not afraid to shoot. And then another more videos Kyle and I showed was when these big guys get the ball underneath, they're not going up trying to lay up. They're going up dunking the heck out of it, or they're flying down the court taking an alley oop and dunking the heck out of it. So,
Yes.
have you noticed? Well, let me ask this: do you get to go to practices?
Yes, I do.
Do you need anybody to carry your jacket or anything like that?
Well, that guy on the screen right now is like my idol. He can really ball.
That's what I heard. I heard
yes.
you tell Mr. Hawthorne that the other day.
Yeah, that guy number 57, my goodness.
Drink to
But
him.
and what I see in practice, the thing about this team is we are able to score. Different people can have monster scoring days. And when I say monster, even just 20.
Yeah.
Just 20, because that's what Michigan did. Mara had, 26 in the
Right.
championship?
Yeah.
Somebody else, 18. You had guys who were more like super duper role players who were hitting big shots, big threes. And when you have so many options, you don't need 20 or 30. You just need people to hit the 2 or 3 shots that you're given. And if that happens, if we go 28 out of 40, it's hard to beat us.
Yeah.
When you got 2 snipers, if you shut them down, are you going to shut down Malachi?
Right.
Are you going to shut down Brady?
And they're shooting 80% from the free throw line. It's
Just
going to win you 3 or 4 games. It just is if you can shoot 80% from the
Yes.
free throw line.
You shoot well, and we got ball handlers. We have attackers. We have big bodies, and so when someone gets in foul trouble, it's going to be another opportunity for another productive player
Yep.
to come up and make a difference.
Well, and you don't have to have a guy score 17 points for
No,
you to win or lose, like we
Every
saw with
game.
Ortega. You know, if Ortega scored 9 points, we were likely gonna win the game. So you don't have to have that anymore because you have so many options. Guy has an off night, no big deal. We got others.
no, no. And I mean, and all we need, like I said, is next man up. The starters, what Coach Pope doesn't want to have to do is play people 30 minutes.
Right.
All his
Right.
starters 30. If he can go 25 to 30, then that's good. But once you have everyone um, getting experience to play early in these big games, the SEC is not going to be as tough because you've played against Indiana,
That's
you
right.
played against Kansas, you played against who else do we have?
North Carolina.
Indiana, can't North Carolina. I mean, those are SEC type games. And if you play those early, when you get in the SEC and you drop 9 points, somebody else drops 12, somebody else drops 20, somebody else drops 14. As a coach, as the next team you play, who do you guard? When you got people coming off the bench dropping 9 and 10, that's a problem.
At the well, and remember Anthony Davis, all pro, all world before his injuries, he only averaged 12 points a game at UK. And now he was a number one draft pick, and at 12 points, how many number one draft picks you see be the third or fourth option on a team?
I mean, how many people who were drafted who were backups on Kentucky team that are making 70 million a year now, like Devin Booker? I mean, that was a
Well,
lot of potential that they had.
look at the NBA Finals that start tonight. We got three players. You got Cat
Yes,
and
De'Aaron.
De'Aaron Fox, who's they're pulling huge money, but then you got Keldon Johnson that a lot of fans probably don't remember, but he was a sixth man of the year and a huge
Yes,
contributor for this year in the NBA. So even if you're not SGA didn't score a lot of points at UK, but
no.
he's a two-time MVP now.
And this is all I want people to understand. Am I telling you they're a Final Four team? Hell, I don't know. This,
That's
this
right.
is May. But what I can say is this is a fresh year. This is a clean slate. Let these guys determine what kind of season it's going to be and support them. If I'm a team and you're coming to play me and I'm looking at your fans saying that you're terrible, guess what? I'm going to reiterate that. And this isn't because I'm on the other team. It's because your fans said you suck.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
so I'm
Yeah.
so I'm joining in. I believe them.
Well,
So,
let me here's a player development question with Coach Pope. Last year, we talked about it seemed the first 5, 6, 8 games, the players were kind of playing one-on-one a lot, weren't playing team ball. Do you think Pope learned anything? And with this batch of players that we got this year and the ones that come back, do you think we'll start playing as a team much earlier, maybe from the first game? How do you see the team meshing together?
um, the funny thing about basketball, when you look at this, when you say, "Oh man, they paid Milan, some good money." So initially, as a player, you got to say, "Look, he's going to start. He's going to
Yeah,
start play a lot of minutes."
yeah,
Malachi, he was in the draft. He came back. He's going to start 7-footer. So you start doing things like that, and then you start trying to think about what role can I play? What role is Coach Pope going to want me to play? That won't hash out until practice starts and things like that. But there's no telling. Like you really don't know what is going to be required. So when you looked at guys last year, they were waiting. They knew Olway was going to be an attacker. They knew he was going to play. They thought J Lo was going to be the point,
Right.
but it ends up
the
um,
shoulder.
being Zell,
Yeah.
who's really a two.
Right.
Cam was coming in to be a wing guy, but he was playing the four. So it was so hard to try to figure it out, not just as a coach, but as a player. Like
Right.
I don't know what role I'm going to play. And if I'm a player who normally plays the 3 and I'm playing a 4, I'm spending time trying to figure out how to do a position that I haven't played before. So it put them at a disadvantage initially.
Doesn't
Yeah.
isn't that nice though for the first time in a couple of years to have guys at every position and not just a guy at every position, multiple guys at every position. And then you're not sticking your two having to run the point all the time. And you're not worried about, well, if I take my dead eye shooter out, I don't have who's gonna score while I'm while I bring it. Isn't that nice?
No, to me, it's great because I look at it like this. Coach Pope can sit up here and experiment with
Yeah,
lineups over the summer and see how they play together. And then early on in the games. Because think about if you want to just go traditional, people are going to say Zoom, Wilkins. Of course, I'm going to say Cam. That's my baby.
right.
Yeah.
um, Milan, and then Eminem,
Malachi. Yeah.
Malachi. So that's the easy thing. But what if you wanted to experiment with size and you go Zoom, Cam, Milan, the young man from Italy, 6'11", and Malachi.
In Jai.
That's a
They
big
love that
lineup.
child.
Yeah.
But
You did
now,
it, Greg. You did it.
right now, what if you want to get in transition? So you take Malachi out, you take 6'11" out, you go with McBride, you go with who else?
Reese Potter.
Reese Potter. Like when you just get a team, they're big, but they're not the biggest. You can go 6'4", and then you're going 6'8" across the board. You can really get in transition.
Well, and
Well,
that's
and it's something to take a 7-footer out and put a 7'1" guy in.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Good problem to have.
Well, and you need that when you're playing against guys down in Florida and things like that. You mentioned a bunch of the guys, that were all mid-major guys at Florida. Just look at Yaxel Lindenborg. I mean, the guy played at Western Arizona for a couple of years before he went to UAB, and he became an all-world player at Michigan. So, I mean, these kids are still developing. I mean, we don't even know how good Cam, potentially could be at this point. So, at this point, we have a good team with a lot of pieces, and I think if you get a guy like Crawford in, you already have a great coaching staff already. Now you're looking at not only good raw talent, but great development as well. And you're not pushing guys into positions they're not supposed to be. So I'm pretty excited about it. I think you guys agree with me.
I think you just want it to be natural. I
Yeah.
think what the players want, what Coach Pope wants is, hey, I'm putting you where you're familiar. Just perform. That's what I need you to do.
Yeah.
I need you to do your job.
Well, you mentioned Aberdeen. He's going to. He's at Florida. They're number
Yes.
one. Are the guys smack talking back and forth?
Well, they're friends.
Right. I
Right.
mean,
They're, they
that's why I'm saying smack talking in a good
yeah,
way.
no. They don't ever talk trash because number one, they won't be guarding each other.
Yeah.
Aberdeen will be a 2, possibly, um, or a 1. And so more than likely he'll be a 2 because you have Boogie coming back.
Yep.
Right.
If he's eligible, then Denzel will be a 2. But he doesn't really talk trash. He's a results guy. You could tell him you're not going to score. You're not going to score. He shoots. He's going to look at you. And then you say you can't do it again. He does it again. He doesn't go back and forth.
Right.
And so they're not going to talk trash um, until the game is over,
Then
and then they may throw something out there.
I know how these guys work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go ahead and thank you, Greg, for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure. I know that our chat has really enjoyed it, and thank you guys for joining us here tonight. Greg, we want to invite you when you come into town. We want you to come down to Frankfurt. We're going to make sure that Greg gets you a ton of good pizza, but also we want to have a live show and have you on as well as anybody else that wants to come down. We're looking forward to that as well.
I would love to come. I have my mind and my sights set on a supreme pizza.
Very
I've
easy.
got you covered.
Yeah.
That is what I'm thinking
Now,
about.
and of course, you mentioned that you wanted Cam to bulk up just a little bit more. So, if you bring him, that'd be, the fans would love that.
This portion of the show brought to you by Da Vinci's Pizza. Come get your
Yeah,
Da
but it would be great to see you face to face, and if somehow Big Mike's back from Saudi Arabia, get him up there, and we do a live show from the restaurant, and it would just be really super cool for Frankfurt
And
to
we'll
get
have
something like that to do.
everybody on our chat. We'll let you guys know way ahead of time. We'll post it to our social medias, but make sure that you keep an eye on that. If we can set that up and make that happen, we will have a live show, and we'll try to bring all the guys from all the different shows in. And I think that would be a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
because you said you and Cam were pizza connoisseurs, so I want to, if you don't like it, don't say it publicly. But if you do like it, go ahead and say, hey, man, that's some good pizza over there.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Cam has a weakness for pizza, man. I cannot have him being late for practice. As coach, I wanted to get some pizza,
Try to get some extra
and
pizza.
went 20 minutes away, and but he does, and we're looking forward to it. I talked to him about it, and of course, food. I have never been told no by him. It's always a great idea. So
You
we
all
will be there.
You all are welcome in the capital city, and we will show you a great time. So I want to go ahead and thank our guest, Greg Williams Sr., who was so kind to pull off on the side of the road in the middle of a terrible storm down there to join us tonight, calling in. I know the chat has really enjoyed it as well. And Greg, before we hop off here, anything else you want to say? Thank you, Greg.
No, just Greg, just thank you so much. I appreciate our midnight texting back and forth, and just love that you agreed to come on the show, and we want you to come back a lot during the season.
Yep.
And hopefully we can get that worked out.
No, you can count on it. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys for allowing me to come and speak. Tell the chat. Thank you for your questions. I try to provide any answers that they need to know exactly what's going on in the minds of the players and parents.
Well, we can't thank you enough. That is Greg Williams. We'll be in contact with you. We'll keep in touch. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. God bless.
We'll
Go Cats.
Thank you, man. Bye.
Well, that was a lot of fun, Craig,
Oh,
having him on. And guys who are still watching us, thank you for joining us tonight. This has been a really special show for us. We've been very excited to provide it. As we are growing and things are happening, obviously you have technical difficulties. That worked itself out, and we thank you guys for sticking with us, even with the video issues. We will have Greg here in town on a live broadcast. We'll bring him in.
Hopefully.
Yeah. He's obviously invited anytime. And then obviously Big Mike and the guys from the BBN Loyal Fan Show, you guys and everybody else who's on here, all you guys, Kel and Clyde and all you guys are obviously welcome as well. We'll give you guys plenty of time ahead of time. We'll try to schedule that when there is a game on the weekend, and maybe we can do it on a Friday night or something. So if for those of you who don't know, you guys can look up Da Vinci's Pizza in Frankfort, Kentucky, and all the great reviews of it. So
thank you, Cal.
Yeah, and so make sure you guys do that as well. Craig, before we get out of here, anything you want to add before we hop off?
No, just that this was a blast, and we're going to keep growing. So like, share, and subscribe to help the channel out. Share it to your friends on your social media pages. If you want to share this broadcast.
Yeah, and share it. Yeah, share it on the Facebook pages, on the group pages. We have a lot going on with those as well. So we'll keep you guys. We'll let you guys know everything else we're doing. We have a live show every day at 5:00 where we talk news and politics and everything else in between. Not just national politics, but also politics and news affecting the great Commonwealth of Kentucky that celebrated its birthday on Monday. So a big happy birthday to the Commonwealth of Kentucky. For Craig Blanton, I want to thank you for joining me tonight and for also setting this up tonight, Craig. It means a lot that you're willing to do that. I am Kyle Thompson. We really appreciate you guys joining us. We will see you guys later, and go Cats.
Okay, let's go.